Hello everybody and welcome to the 17th Iron and Steel Summit. As you know, Steel World has been organizing this summit for the last 17 years in the city of Raipur, which can also be known, said that it is a new capital of Indian steel industry in a way. Uh, as you know, there are a lot of sponge iron units in and around Raipur and Chhattisgarh, and for that matter, the eastern states of the country. And after the sponge iron units, then came the melting units, and then came the rolling mills, and then came the cogeneration plants and ferroalloy plant and whatnot. So it's all a story of about last 2 decades, and we are very fortunate to be witnessing this growth and this change in the profile of the Indian steel industry. And we are happy that we have in a small way also contributed in terms of presenting new technologies and presenting the new processes and presenting the market scenarios from time to time. So here we are in 2020, now in the 17th Iron and Steel Summit. Obviously, we all know that for the last 6 or 7 months, the country, or for that matter, the whole world is undergoing the pandemic of COVID-19, and uh, uh, we were closed for last 6 7 months, and now gradually the industry is opening up. The steel industry, I would say, is quite fortunate that we are keeping the pace with the restarting of the economy. And I can see that a lot of steel companies are now operating. Most of them are operating above the average and above the expectations of many. And I know that there were a lot of points where the supply chain was disrupted, but now all these disruption points are being healed, and now most of the supply chain in iron and steel industry has been recovered. And I feel that with construction and infrastructure industry going recovering strong, and surprisingly auto industry also showing signs of improvement, I feel that the industry has got the required boost to cover up the lost time and the lost money which we have in last 6 to 7 months. So now we are starting. I again welcome all the delegates and participants and the speakers of this conference. We are starting the inauguration session. We have two very eminent personalities from the industry. We have Mr. Dr. Bhaskar Chatterjee, who is the Secretary General of Indian Steel Association. Welcome, Dr. Chatterjee. And we would really like to hear from you the present situation in the steel industry and how the industry is supposed to head from here. So welcome, Dr. Chatterjee. And we have Mr. Dipendra Kashiwa. Mr. Dipendra Kashiwa has been a long additional industrial advisor in Ministry of Steel, and now he has taken responsibility of the sponge iron industry. He is executive director of Sponge Iron Manufacturers Association. So welcome, Mr. Kashiwa, and we would like to hear from you the present situation in the sponge iron industry, especially because sponge iron industry will form the basis of this situation in the steel industry. So that sponge iron industry becomes very crucial for the sustainability and the growth of steel industry in this country. And with this, I would first request Mr. Kashiwa to explain us the present situation in the industry and say a few words for this conference. Mr. Kashiwa, please.
Good morning to all of you. I am happy to be associated with the 17th Iron and Steel Summit being organized by Mr. Chandigarh. He is known to me.
Hello.
If we look into the iron and steel industry, please don't confine the CMO or me to the sponge iron, steel also. And we have got all the renowned steel producers like Tata Steel, like AMNS, like JSPS, JSW, all are our members. So I will be giving my views, not confining to the sponge iron, but I will also be covering the steel scenario, where we are, where we were, where we are, where we have to go. So I will be covering these three areas in my presentation. As you all know that 2019-20 was very depressing. Indian economy was slowing down, and in turn this was impacting the steel demand. And we were expecting that 2020-21 will be very promising. But the beginning of 2020-21 was very from the start of the financial year, April, most of the units closed down, barring in some integrated steel plant and very few mid-size steel plant. Otherwise, all steel producers and steel processors were closed. That was very, very depressing and very challenging because of the COVID-19 havoc created not only in India but entire world. So that has impacted the movements of the raw material, finished product. If you look into the first half of the current financial, as per the JPC, you will find that the crude steel production is down by 21%. Sponge iron production is down by 20.8%. Finished steel is by 25.3%, and the consumption level is down by almost 30%. So this is the level of the present state of affairs. But last few months has been very promising. Demand has picked up. Things have started moving out. Lot of Mr. Chandika, the demand in the automobile sector and the FMCG has picked up. But there are the other many challenges which we are facing and we will continue to face. I will just highlight the iron ore scenario, which is very vital for the Indian iron and steel sector. If you look to this the iron scenario last year in 2019-20, 60%, that is around 145 million tons, was from the state of Mr. Bhaskar. Odisha was contributing and is a main driver of the growth of the iron and steel sector. And I must congratulate the government of Odisha for taking a decision, because we all were having the apprehension on the 31st March 2020 when all these mines will be left, and they auctioned the 19 mines immediately. And if we look into this 19 mines scenario, the 19 mines have a mining capacity of around 86 million tons, and they produce around 70 million tons in 2019-20. There is a view of the experts that because of the various reasons, these 19 mines would not be able to produce more than 20 million tons. So there is going to be a gap of around 20 to 25 million tons, which is going to very severely impacting the iron and steel scenario. Very badly, this is going to impact the growth. We all are talking. We are very happy that the festive season has brought the smile on our faces. But a very big challenge is now looming on us. We have the iron and steel producer have a storage of the iron ore for 2-3 months because they were not able to operate their plants in the April and May. Now this stock is going to be now deleted. How and the supply side has not improved. Let us see what was the scenario in the April to September in the current financial year. This, as I said, this 19 mines were producing around 70 million tons, 71 million tons. They have produced only the 4 million tons. Exact figure is from April to September is 4.06 million tons. Just see, and whereas during the same period last year, in the last financial year, April to September, they produced around 36 million tons. So, gentlemen, there is a gap of 32 million ton.
Oh.
That gap has not reached us because we have a storage of iron ore because we did not operate our plants in the beginning of the current financial. But that 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 storage is going to be over. And as I am raising this issue, flagging this issue, that there is going to be very acute shortage of iron ore in the third week or the end of this month, and I don't see any sign of improvement. I'm sorry to say, as my members are giving me feedback, they don't see any light of any improvement of the availability of the iron ore in the current situation. Because of the various reasons, I don't want to flag those issues because those issues are known to you all. Now, the option for the Indian sponge iron and steel producer has been to go to the international market. But surprisingly, the international market, the iron ore prices are very high, 118 and 120. And because China is very aggressively buying the iron ore. Second option for us was to substitute the lump iron ore by the pellets. But as you know, there is a iron pellet prices are also rising almost every day in the country. So there is a very limited choice before us to augment the sponge iron steel production in terms to meet the this sustainable demand if it is sustained to meet this demand in a coming months. So I am keeping my fingers crossed and hope something will be done in near future. And only this, what I have just flagged it to the Ministry of Steel that 3-4 things you can immediately take to augment the iron ore availability in the country. One of them is please pursue the NMDC to increase their production drastically. They are struggling for last 3-4 months. And there were the various reasons. I'm not blaming them. First, there were the rains, then there were the COVID, this corona. Most of them were some breakdown in their transporting system, all that. But now those things have all settled down. We expect now NMDC to drastically increase their production to give some relief to the Indian iron and steel industry. Second is the hope of OMC. OMC should increase their production, and likewise the OMDC, which has not been producing, they should also immediately start producing their testing. And fourth is the cap in the mining cap in the Karnataka. I wish that should be increased to facilitate the availability of iron ore in the state of Karnataka. What is happening? Some of my members are saying even the sponge iron producer from the Goa, from the Maharashtra are going to the Karnataka to take some iron ore to meet their demands. Although these are located near the port, but since international prices are so high and availability of NMDC is very restricted, their first priority is to give the iron ore to the Chhattisgarh units as per their agreement with the Chhattisgarh government. And second is that whatever is available, they have to meet their export obligations. And then they have to feed the RINL also. So their choice is very limited to supply to the small sponge iron or steel producer in the country. So, but the only hope is that they should increase their mining production and come to the pre-COVID level. They are able to hardly dispatch around 4-5 racks in a day. We should increase to the pre-COVID level of 10-15 racks per day. This is the iron ore scenario. But there is I know the most of the participants here who are attending this thing are producing the rebar, saria. And the main product of the secondary sector is a rebar, saria. But recently there are two very disturbing developments in the country. I mean, if some of you are reading my post or reading my mails, we have recently taken up these issues with the highest level in the present government. One is that the CPWD, they have issued a circular, rather an order, restricting that the rebar should be made by the BF BO route, by the Corex BO route, BOD route, by the DRI EF route, and they have quantified the minimum EF capacity of 100 tons. What rubbish! How many units, how many steel producers are having a 100-ton EF? It must be only 4 5 producers. So, and they have neglected completely the induction furnace, which is contributing around 30 million ton out of that 110 million ton. So that sector induction furnace is out. The EF who have got a EF capacity of less than 100 tons are out. So we are going to supply to them. We have taken up the issues with the Urban Development Minister, Mr. Puri. And second very recent notification or order is from the National Highway, the Ministry of Transport and Highways. They have said that henceforth, under the government purchase program, only the rebar produced from the RNO directly would be taken care of. And they have very specifically mentioned that the rebar made from the shredded scrap, made from the DRI, would not be able to participate in the government purchase program. This is very, very alarming, very depressing, I must say. I must say it is very, very depressing. We have taken up the issue with Mr. Gadkari last week, and we have said how you are concerned, what process route is used, what raw material is used to produce a particular product. Only you should be concerned with the physical and chemical composition of the product, whether it meets the national standard, BIS standard or not. That is all you should or your purchase department should look into. But they are insisting, no, we will delete this producer, we will delete that producer, we will delete that producer. This is very alarming to gentlemen who are listening to me, particularly the producer, steel producer in the secondary sector. Situation is very, very alarming. And I'm sorry to say there has been a pickup, demand pickup, but how about the expenditure in the infrastructure? Have anyone who agreed that the infrastructure, government infrastructure project has picked up? I think no. I think they have not picked up. Minor distinct incomplete projects of the state government or the central government are being completed, but they are not the main driver. The main driver of the steel demand, particularly to the steel sector, is the housing sector and the infrastructure sector. Today, the road transport had banned the secondary sector. Tomorrow, metro is banned. Then day after tomorrow, the state electricity board or the state PWD will ban. So where we are going to head? The government is talking a lot about the SME sector, but where is the SME sector is going to be headed? So these are the challenging times. These are very, very challenging times. I wish my doubts and the issue which I flagged will be taken care of by this government, and all you, the producers, should also take up the issue with the concerned authority to see that these issues are being settled at the earlier, so that there is a relief to all of you. Now, apart from this raw material issue, some new developments are taking place all over the world. And today's paper, if you are able to read, you have seen that the Tata and the RINL has committed themselves for the carbon neutral. Entire Europe is now shifting to the carbon neutrality. We may not be in the pressure today, but tomorrow we will be in the pressure. Even China had declared that by 2060 they will be carbon neutral. Switzerland, Sweden, Germany, they have declared that by 2038 to 2050 they will be carbon neutral. So all these fellows are going to discard their blast furnace route. They will be investing hugely to the hydrogen-based DRI or steel making. Naturally, their cost of production will be much higher compared to the India, because the finance cost, the fixed cost will be very high on their steel. It will be loaded on their finished steel product. So we may think that India is going to have a very easy access to the Europe and the world market because we will be cost competitive. No, it is not going to be like that. It is not going to be like that. They will impose definitely the carbon tax. which will make us at par, or at least we will be the loser. So it is a time, gentlemen, to start thinking to switch over to the gas-based DRI or steel production, or the hydrogen-based DRI or steel production. Yes, I know it is too early, but if you start thinking on these lines, today we are not under pressure, as I am saying, but tomorrow we may be under pressure by the international body, by itself, by government of India. You know, the Prime Minister is very much committed about the Paris Agreement, and he has repeatedly said in those conferences that India is much ahead of their commitment. We have done a lot of the progress in the renewable energy, but in the steel sector, we have to see that how we can be energy efficient, how can we reduce the use of the fossil fuel in the iron and steel making. So these are some thoughts we have to think, start of changing the technology. We have to be continuously upgrade our technology, which we are having, because some of you are very efficient, very energy efficient, like Godavari, like Tata Stone, which is now Tata Steel LP. But every one of you, for the sake of survival, for the sake of sustainable growth, has to upgrade their technology. They have to think of incorporation of the AI, artificial intelligence. They have to interact with some of our members who are technically very advanced, or they have to interact with the IITs. I will cite one example. IIT Bhubaneswar is a new chap of first year, second year.
I have to go.
Rather, I'm finishing. They have developed some software for the Tata sponge iron, and they have improved their productivity by 2 to 3%. So kindly think about the upgradation of your technology. Think about the challenges of the raw material which we are going to face. Thank you very much. Mr. Chandekar, finish.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Kashiva. And you have rightly raised the questions about, I know. You have rightly raised the question of iron ore availability and the production, and also about the process of sponge iron making, which will affect the global scenario also. So now I request Dr. Chatterjee to say a few words, sir. I'm sorry you have to go, but sir, please accommodate.
Dr. Chatterjee. Mr. Chandekar, I had only budgeted time till 11 o'clock, so technically I have no time left, but I'll still try to speak for a few minutes.
Please.
Thank you, Mr. Kashiva. Thank you very much. You have covered almost, I would say, the entire scenario, right from the difficulties of COVID to the current day problems. And I don't want to cover the same ground as yourself. Broadly, 3 or 4 points I'd like to mention. One, of course, yes, the iron ore shortage is becoming, what shall I say, becoming extremely critical. And we are soon going to run out of our inventories and the stocks that we had piled because of the COVID crisis. So 2 or 3 months down the line, we are going to run into a very, very severe crisis. We have taken this up with the steel minister and with the mines minister as well. We are hoping to have a video conference with both of them in the very near future. We have just had a big video conference with the Chief Secretary Odisha. So we are trying to support your efforts, Kashivaji, to also take it up at the highest level. Today, we have to face that challenge front on, otherwise we'll be in serious difficulty. Having been chairman of the Odisha Mining Corporation and seen the functioning there also, so OMC and OMDC and definitely NMDC have got to get the show on the road and ramp up production. We know very well that much of this is part of the transition, because now the big players have also bid very highly for the mines. And the earlier relationship of around, let us say, 30% captive and 70% merchant mining is now actually being turned on its head. We'll soon have at least 60% captive iron ore production and maybe 40% of merchant mining. So a lot of transition happening in the Indian steel industry during this time, which will affect the supply of iron ore in the very near future. The other point I'd like to mention is that, with the unilateral withdrawal of MEIS and no real sign of when it is going to be replaced by the RODTEP, I know that the GK Pillai committee is struggling very hard. We have, from the Indian Steel Association, taken a lot of pains to see that we supply all the required data to the committee. I'm sincerely hoping, and we spoke to the in a video conference with the finance minister a couple of weeks ago, and she also assured us that they are trying to do their best to speed up the process. But the replacement of MEIS by the RODTEP scheme needs to be expedited as quickly as possible. Similarly, our BAT, the border adjustment tax, we have been agitating on this issue for quite some time now. It is very much, at the very highest level, we have taken it up. We are hoping that some relief on that side will also come our way. We have suffered, perhaps the steel industry was an industry which was one of the greatest sufferers during the COVID times. We were one of the hardest hit. We're a continuous process industry. It was very hard for us to keep our blast furnaces running. But now that the post-COVID situation has shown a great improvement, we need all the support that we can get from government and from everyone else. Because as Mr. Chandekar rightly said, some of the other sectors, the auto sector, for example, and are beginning to show a great deal of growth, transport too. Some elements of construction infrastructure are also now beginning to develop a momentum. I know that Gadkari ji on the road transport sector is trying very hard to revive the pace of growth of the infrastructure projects. So government is doing all it can, but at the end of the day, this is the time when we really have to, put all our resources, all our energies, everything together to see that the road ahead is not lined with more difficulties, but actually more facilitation so that we can take this forward. Chandekar ji, I would only say to you that you have pioneered this Iron and Steel Summit now, 17th going on now. Steel World has played a very, very fine role in coordinating many sectors of the industry. And I'm particularly happy that this focus that you have got on Chhattisgarh, which is emerging as a major industrial hub. And we particularly look forward to all the support that the state government can give us. It is an area which has developed, as you said, over the last decade or so. The state government has been very, very proactive, very, very helpful. And I would like to congratulate the government of Chhattisgarh, its bureaucrats, its ministers, its chief minister, for coming forward in such a very nice way. So I would only say that, as Mr. Kashiva rightly pointed out, there are some roadblocks, as we mentioned, some in the commerce area, some in the mining area, which need to be addressed. We seek the help of Steel World to project our views, and all of us together, I'm sure, will be able to take care of many of these difficulties that we envisage now. But altogether, the scenario is relatively much, much better than it was in the past. If we anticipate our problems and go ahead, I'm sure that a bright future will be ahead of us. Thank you, Mr. Chandekar.
Thank you, Dr. Chatterjee, and very insightful, thoughts about the steel industry present situation. And thanks for your blessings to Steel World also. For the last 17 years, we have been doing this conference, and we have been associated with the growth of the steel industry in Chhattisgarh. So that brings us to the end of this inauguration session, and we'll take a quick break of 5 minutes, and we'll again reassemble for our next session, which is a panel discussion on the future of iron and steel industry in Asia. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Kashivat, and thank you, Dr. Chatterjee.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.